I didn't do anything, and now I get to drink a beer as a reward? Truly, Leibniz was right, and this is the best of all possible worlds. Cheers. Welcome back, everybody, to me doing the weekly Navel-Gazing, where I talk about all the books I read last week, all the videos I didn't do last week, all the plans I have for this week, which I'll definitely get to. Trust me, seriously, do. Probably don't. Anyway, let's get started and talk about it, shall we? The good news is I did, in fact, read some books. In fact, I finished the biography of Ezra Taft Benson, or whatever it's called, Watchman on the Tower, Ezra Taft Benson and the Rise of the Mormon Rite. And then I read a biography of David O. McKay, who was another prophet, seer, and revelator of the Church of Latter-day Saints of Jesus Christ. That one. Let's just call David O. McKay and The Rise of Global Mormonism, I think, something like that. Yeah, I read it. And it's good. It's also long, and it's also very partisan. So I read those two books, and then I finally got around to starting Gog Magog by Jeff Noon and Stephen Beard, and I'm basically done with it, and it's great, and I really enjoy it. I'm just not sure if I'll make a video on it, because it's the first part of a duology. Second book will come out later this year. I think in September, October, something like that. And maybe I'll talk about both of them together. I'll figure that one out in the future. So that's all my reading for last week. Let's look at what I will maybe read this week, because I don't know. See, I will definitely go and read Feeding the Flock by Terrell Givens, to add to my Mormon research. I didn't do that last week, so that's definitely something I will read this week. I would still love to read Rough Stone Rolling, which is a biography of Joseph Smith Jr. by Richard Lyman Bushman, but that one's region locked for me, so I'm kind of fucked on that one unless I figure out a way to circumvent a region lock in the name of education. We will see. So those are reading ideas. Beyond that, I have no idea. Maybe I'll go and read Two Like the Lightning. Wouldn't that be fun if I finally get around to it? Or maybe I'll go and read The Spear Cut Through Water. Another one of those that I would be interested in. I guess the main issue is that I'm out of current Audible credits, so whatever I do, I have to do something that I already have in my library or can get for free, because I don't have the money to buy additional credits right now. So, well, all bets are off. I will definitely reread Snuff by Terry Pratchett, because of course I didn't make the video last week, which is sort of what we'll get to now. I didn't do videos. I'm sorry, it didn't work. See, I had all these plans, and I did in fact record several starts for a non-book specific video, but it just didn't work. I was too wandering and too waffling, I don't have the energy and so forth, and that kind of kept me from doing anything productive last week. There were obviously external circumstances. I may get into those later on, but yeah. So my brain was just fried and I just couldn't get it together, which sucks. I'm sorry about that. I'll try to do better this week, because I always feel bad if I just do like a weekly Navel-Gazing and nothing else. That kind of feels wrong to me, because I'm sitting here and talking about all the things I've done, and I was like, oh, well, but done nothing. It's bad. So what are my plans for this week? See, this week, I'll try to do the things that I wanted to do last week, which means a video on Snuff by Terry Pratchett. Possibly a video on In Ascension by Martin McInnes, because that one is still out there. I mean, I have a version that is fully recorded and rendered and everything. I could upload it immediately, but I want to see if I can make a better case for it. So that's something that I'll try to do. And, of course, that video on, well, subtlety or nuance in fantasy and science fiction, or why it may not be the best thing ever. That's definitely something I still intend to make. That's the thing I tried to record like 3 versions of last week, and I'm just not happy with the results so far, so I'll keep at it, I guess. I might also maybe do something about the whole Hugo debacle. I think there's lessons to be learned in there. There's stuff that is interesting about it. I'm just not sure if I'm, the person to talk about it. I don't know. Let me know if you are interested in me rambling on about the Hugo Awards and all my issues that I've had with them before, and obviously all the bad things that happened last year and stuff like that. We will find out. It is definitely something that may or may not happen, because I think it's important to talk about it, but I also think, I don't know what I think, I guess. And then, of course, we'll have a monthly Marxist malcontent on Saturday, and for this, this upcoming Saturday, the 24th. And I'll have a guest. We'll have a guest. Wouldn't that be fun? So yes, the wonderful Strange Mentality Paper booktuber extraordinaire will join me for a conversation about, well, writing, reading, whatever else comes up, as usual. I'll link the channel down below. Give it a like. Follow her, watch her videos. We'll have a bit of a conversation about all kinds of stuff, as we sometimes do. I do have other possible guests for future episodes. I'll try to, do like 1 month on my own, 1 month with a guest. I think that sounds like a reasonable approach to the whole thing. We'll see how it goes. Let me find out. Let us find out. I hope you tune in, because, these things are fun when we all sit around and have a bit of a chat for a while. So there are plans for this week. The question is, will I be able to do all of the things I just set out? Because that means like 3 videos. I don't know. Frankly, I don't know. See, we often kind of talk about like this kind of content. It's like, yeah, making a video about a book is potentially fairly easy, right? I can just tell you I liked it or I didn't like it, but I try to not do that because I don't want to do like reviews. I don't think reviews are necessarily the best approach to stuff, because look, you should read these books because they're interesting, and or because you enjoy them. And if I enjoy a book, there's very little chance you'll enjoy it for the same reasons, because we're all very unique and different. There's, star ratings and all that crap on Goodreads if you feel like it. None of the books I talk about are books where you need my specific recommendation whether you should read it, or much less whether you should not read it, unless, and this is sort of where I come in with like how I'm doing these things these days, which is, unless I think there's something interesting to talk about, something that goes beyond just like, hey, I had fun reading this. There's books I had fun reading, and I'm like, how do I talk about that? I don't know. So what I usually do is, if a book like makes me think, whether it's positive stuff or negative stuff, don't get me wrong, I'll try to sort of give like a synopsis and then talk about 2-3 main things where I think these are remarkable things that stood out for me, in whether it's in how an author tackled a specific topic, whether it's a specific technique they're using, whether it's a specific political stance they're taking, these kind of things that stick out with me. And sort of a pattern or a structure or format or whatever you want to call it, I've kind of dropped into over the last 3 years. Shit, I'm getting old. And I'm doing this. Is like, yeah, I think this is like the best way. Give like a quick synopsis, go like, hey, this is what you get. I think it's worth reading, and now we'll talk about why I think it's worth reading. And these things obviously then require spoilers. Now, I personally believe that outside of, say, murder mysteries and very few other books, spoilers are not necessary. Like, I don't care about spoilers. No one needs spoilers to know about spoilers, because most spoilers are not ruining your experience of reading a book. There are some, as I said, like murder mysteries, that kind of stuff. Yeah, I get it. But most things are not spoilers that will, ruin your engagement with a story. I think, in fact, they help. Oftentimes, they help with the appreciation of a story. So I do these things, but I'm that's why I make that clear markup between the 2 things. So unless I can come up with like these 2 or 3 things that I think make the book worth talking about in a video, I won't make a review about it. So sometimes, I'll just read a book and I'm like, oh, I've got nothing to say about it. Like, hey, it's fun, go read it. I guess that's sort of what I try to include in these like weekly navel-gazing things. I'm like, hey, I read this. This is my two sentences. But the other side of that, I think, for me is, if I have enough things to say about a book, for example, with In Ascension by Martin McInnes, that is definitely the case, because it's a book that has not, left my memory since I read it like a month ago, roughly a month ago. So clearly there's something there. And I think at that point I want to do it justice. I want to make sure that I give it my best, or make it as clear as possible why I think this book is worth talking about, worth reading, and so forth. And that means I'm a lot more critical. Like, I don't know, if I would do like these videos, like these weekly navel-gazing ones, right? I just sit down, I just ramble for 10 minutes or 15 minutes roughly, and then I shut off the camera. There's very little effort that goes into this. It would be the same if I would do like, TBR videos or book haul videos, that kind of stuff. Oftentimes I'm like, yeah, well, whatever. Even the books I plan to read this year, kind of releases in 2024 video, that there's very little effort there. I always get annoyed by people who do like these TBR videos or whatever, and they just read the fucking back cover text, and I'm like, that's the lowest effort stuff out there. Which, yeah, I get it. On the other hand, you're talking about books you plan to read, so I guess reading the back cover blurb and then going like, this sounds interesting to me, is probably the only way you can talk about this, or one of the few ways you can talk about it, because, you haven't read the book yet. What you going to say about it? I think it just kind of annoys me. So I'm trying to do something else, and that means that I'm maybe slightly too critical with these book videos, and there's certainly a level of arrogance involved here where I'm like, yeah, I'm doing more than other booktubers, right? Which is probably not true. But it means I'm more critical with my own, I don't want to call it work, but, with the things I'm doing. So that's why the In Ascension video has been recorded and lying around for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks now. And I'm always like, nah, I gotta redo this. So I better redo it this week. Maybe at this point I should actually go and reread In Ascension before I actually get to it, because it's been a while already, and my brain is soup, as we have already established. Like, seriously, this is probably a result of ADHD. I'm really, really bad at remembering shit. It's why I haven't done an actual Malazan video in a long time. It's like, right now, there's things I want to talk about in the Malazan Book of the Fallen, but for me to be confident in doing so, I would have to go and reread the Malazan Book of the Fallen, because after like 2 or 3 weeks, I am no longer confident enough in the details to talk about it. It's, as I said, like, I read something and all these ideas pop up, and then, because there's constantly new ideas popping up, unless I write shit down, and I'm really bad at writing shit down and then making the connection again. Unless I do that, it's very, very difficult for me to stay engaged with it, to stay focused on it, and to create something with it. So while I really want to talk about eco-terrorism in the Malazan Book of the Fallen, I think that's a topic worthwhile exploring in the later books, like mostly like Dust of Dreams and The Crippled God. I think there's a lot to be said about it. I'm like, yeah, but I would have to go and reread Dust of Dreams and The Crippled God right now to figure that shit out. And I can't just go and reread Dust of Dreams and The Crippled God. I would have to go and start all the way from the beginning again. Yeah. You see my problem here, right? and I, which is why, for example, even with like the Discworld books, which some of them I've read like 10, 15 times by now, I still reread it right before I make the video, because otherwise I won't be able to do the thing, which is not necessarily good, I guess. And so yeah, maybe I'll have to go and reread In Ascension. I guess if you're one of the few people following my non-existing Goodreads reads reviews and just like the ongoing report of what I'm currently reading, you'll notice if In Ascension pops up again. I don't know. It's just one of those things. And as I said, the last couple of weeks have been sort of difficult in a lot of ways. Like life sucks, and I'm really bad at it, and a lot of the stuff that from like my really, really bad and dark 2021, mostly 2022 and parts of 2023 were like the really, really dark time where I, for mental health reasons that are so hard to diagnose. Like, was it depression? Is it depression? Is it burnout? Is it something in between? Is it, who knows, right? These categories are so overlapping that it's kind of hard to have like a definitive answer we as humans want it we enjoy definitive answers. I don't have them. But the point is, I fucked up a lot. I left stuff unpaid. I left bills unpaid. I ignored mail and stuff. And I still have like 700 unread emails I need to go through. All of that crap. And the problem is that I'm still sort of hiding from a lot of these consequences, but sometimes something comes up and I'm like, oh, fuck, we've reached the point where I can no longer ignore this. And one of these things happened last week, basically, where I got one of those, like, very special letters that, are signed. So, it is very clear when they have been actually sent or they're registered and all the other stuff, because there was stuff from my health insurance that I didn't pay. And it basically said, yeah, you pay us this stuff within like the next X days, or you'll have to show up to, well, in this case, it's not yet court, but the customs officers handling this kind of stuff. So you have to show up with all the documents explaining all your current financial assets and all your financial transactions of the last 2 years, which obviously I can't do because the last 2 years are a blur and a mess. I have no idea. And yeah. That's what happened last week, and I kind of fell into paralysis for the first couple of days because I didn't know what to do, because obviously I don't have that money. So yeah, it got fucked up, which is why I could not focus on making any kind of video. Like, the ideas were there, but as soon as I started talking, like, fog, basically. Now, the problem has, I hope, been solved for now. That particular one, so I hope that the next couple of days I'll be more energized, more focused, and all of these things, so I can finally get back to, looking forward. It's still one of those big problems. I'm sitting here and I still don't know what I'm doing. I still don't know what I want to do with my life as a whole. The whole, like, what you're going to be, what you're going to do, is a real big mystery for me right now. But it's one of these, you need to kind of clear up a lot of the crap behind you to take these constant threats. Like, I was not sitting under the sword of Damocles. I was more sitting under the fucking weapons chamber of Damocles. And anytime one of these is going to drop and hit me and hurt me. You need to clear up that shit. I'm not good at it. I'm really not good at it because I tend to avoid any form of conflict. If at all possible, and it's one of those things. Yeah, so yeah, that's kind of what happened last week, and we'll see how I continue with these things. I guess we'll find out more by next week. So yeah, I have no idea what else to say about it. Life sucked last week. That's why I didn't do anything. I hope life won't suck this much this week. So I will be able to do cool things. And that's where we are right now. And I hope things are better for you. And yeah, let me know what you did last week, what you read last week, how life is going. Do all those, I hope you had a good time. I hope you keep having a good time. I hope I'll have videos for you. Go subscribe to Strange Mentality Paper, and we'll talk on Saturday. I hope to see as many as possible there. Anyway, have a great Monday. Cheers.